Now, when we're talking about something like being used, right? I love it because hey, why are we even just pretending like we're not going to get used? Let's just be realistic about it. We all like to be used if it's by the right person. Yep, everybody likes to be used when they're getting paid well for it, right? Being used doesn't mean you're getting abused. We're just saying you're being used for your services. You're being used for um, betterment of another party, or somebody else is getting something from you, and because of that, you're benefiting as well. We all like that. That's what relationships are all about. To be honest with you, if you're not getting out there and actually getting dirty within the relationship, what are you, just pen pals? What are you, just friends? See what I mean? So I really think that for something like this, if we think that to be used is wrong, you're going to put all these boundaries up, and you're going to start putting yourself in a position where you are extremely guarded, and you're extremely avoidant, and you're extremely kind of like standoffish, and you're putting yourself on a pedestal, guys and girls, and you're too worried to get used because that might hurt down the road. Well, you're going to have to take risks. Now, again, we're not saying be abused. We're not saying be used and abused. That's totally different, right? Now, and I have to say that we're always comparing this to revealed knowledge. We're always comparing this to scripture. We're always comparing this to what God says about the matter. And here's the beautiful part about it. What we find on relationships and what we find on marriages in scripture is foundational knowledge. It's information that you build upon, and you build upon that using reason, rationality, logic, critical thinking, and reverence to Christ, meaning knowing that the gospel is your hermeneutical lens in which you look at all these aspects. So all that means is that as you add information and standards and parameters on top of the foundational knowledge you get from scripture, it needs to be done by way of humility, knowing that you are a forgiven, hostile rebel to God, and that as you build this framework up, you don't put legalistic framework. You do this, I do that. If you do this, I do that. It should always be done through the law of liberty. It should always be done through that gospel-centered hermeneutical lens, meaning as you add things in, it needs to be through the gospel, so that you know that you're always operating under an area of humility, and you're operating under an area of selflessness, love, essentially. It can mean a lot of different things, but in a loving nature, especially if you're a guy, a selfless nature, a redeeming style nature. And as you're building upon it, it should be always through grace, not through legalistic nature. But that's the beauty of this whole deal, is being that we are individual people with unique aspects of what make us ourselves. We have to be able to look at the foundational information, and then we have to be able to add to it through grace and apply principles and standards from our day and age. We're not changing scripture. We're keeping scripture the same, but we understand that our challenges are much different in the year 2024 than they were in the year 100 when this was written, or 80 AD or whatever it was. That's foundational, unless it's speaking directly to it. And still, you don't want to look at this in a legalistic lens. You want to understand that what we need to do is actually build a framework for today, right? Don't get into traditionalism. Follow logic, reason, rationality, humility, critical thinking, and apply that to a foundation of knowledge that you find in scripture. And you're going to find things like what Orion's talking about right here, that he's saying that if you were to look at this in any other aspect, if you were to look at this as a job, you would never behave the way you're behaving in your relationship. And everybody's always so shocked when they're either broken up with, or they find out they're getting cheated on, or, they get ghosted, or, you end up finding out something about the person that you thought was different. They lied to you, right? Everybody's shocked. Just, oh, I can't believe that actually happened. I can't believe what's happening right now. And you said, and he said, and we're going to, why is everybody so shocked? Because you're not behaving the way you've demonstrated yourself. You're up here putting all your cards, tight to the chest, and then you want everybody else to be completely open book. No, everybody's coming with their cards close to the chest, right? And they're playing just a little game with you. We're all playing a little game to see how much we can get from the other person before we have to give. And that is always happening. And if we view it in the right lens, knowing that we should be coming from a humble, grace-centered place, and then we also apply some practical examples, like you wouldn't behave this way at work, my goodness, we're going to start coming to some solutions a lot quicker than we have been in the past. I'll tell you that much.